Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Sabal khair. It's good to see that people have reached here on time despite the Riyadh traffic. So let's have a quick clap for that. Yeah, because I understand every time we have a discussion in terms of any event, most of the people have the first thing is how did you manage the traffic? But that's just a basic icebreaker right now. From the presentation perspective, what I'm going to talk about is that AI is no longer a project fund. Yeah, it's a capability which you can govern, and whatever you can govern, you can scale. All right, in next 15 to 20 minutes, what we're talking about now is basically how you can move from a strategy statement to an actionable stack. I'll probably give you a short blueprint of a 90 days plan as well, how the CIO, the CISO, and the CTO can put this together and work in tandem to achieve it. All right. Now, the main question is why this matters in Saudi Arabia now. Okay. Vision 2030 is not just a slogan. All right. It is an enabler for the nation. The digital transformation or the digital capabilities of the nation is actually going to let us get there. And that is the whole purpose of this. And in order to do that, there are multiple supporting initiatives which we have. So you have the Sadaya, which basically has the governance part and the rules set in place. So whatever scalability happens within the time frame. Then there are digital government initiatives which are there. And then you have the cloud-first initiatives. Now moving from your on-prem to the cloud is also one of the key capabilities which is required. And then again, those things need to be done. So as technology leaders, all right, our role is to make sure that we are part of this translation and ensuring that the national ambition, the enterprise capability are resulting into measurable outcomes. So like I said, it's very good if we have these slogans in place, but then it is our responsibility as leaders to, convert these, the enablements into a measurable outcome. All right. I call it the uncomfortable truth predominantly because many people have been, in past 2024, many people have done a lot of pilots. People have done. However, when it comes to a point where it needs to be scaled, there is where your governance team will come into the picture and then they will find loopholes in it and the pilot goes down. So on paper, it looks really good. It kind of gives you a lot of results and outcomes that we're talking about. But when we actually sit and find there are quite a few biases, who's going to take the ownership of the automated decision making, things like that. When these things come into the picture, that is where your AI pilots go down the drain. And this is what I keep telling to any vendor who walks in. All right, so that's what I'm trying to say. Basically, from an AI perspective, if the AI cannot be governed, it cannot be scaled. We can have top-notch use cases which can be very good on paper, but at some point in time, they will need to be governed. And this is where I'm saying that we need to have the governance platform in place. All right. Okay. Now, moving ahead, what I would like to highlight here is that again, carrying on from what I said previously, the outcomes are not your KPIs. They are not your use cases. The outcome is not the use case. They are basically KPIs with the owner. The outcome is the KPI with the owner. The use cases are how you reach them. All right. This is basically you have an outcome, you have the value use cases in place, then you put the data products there, and then based on that, a platform gets developed and the adoption. So this is basically a step-by-step process which happens, all right? And I have already started the note with the pilot theta, which I was earlier explaining as well, that the moment the chat GPT boom started, every organization wanted to get into it. They didn't want to be left behind. And as a result, everyone started doing some or the other pilots. And right now, what we are looking at is not, have a pilot in place, but have the right ownership defined. You have your data quality in place, and there is a risk management assigned to all the pilots or the initiatives. So it's no longer a pilot, but it's an initiative from the organization perspective. And right now, many organizations are under the impression that if we have, successfully demoed, and this is more from an IT perspective, where we go back and say that, okay, we did 5 pilots and 7 demos, and they are working successfully. But the measure is not the number of AI tools you have implemented. The measure is the business outcome they are driving. All right, now this is basically my, a 5-step process, which I follow personally. And again, it's something which works, and I believe if you have the right processes defined, it will work for you as well. All right, it's basically a 5-layered operating model from, value. So any initiative, you need to have a profile needs to be tied to a measurable outcome. It cannot start without an outcome. Then you need to have an operating model in place where you have to define your product teams, your owners, your incentives. The data products, again, I've seen so many AI tools actually coming back and saying that your data is not clear. All right, it's not in one place. Your data is not, properly maintained. And this is not just an AI problem. This has been a challenge both on ERP or any other solution. You call it analytics, anything. Your data maintenance is one of the key problems which are there, but then that needs to be there. Other than that, the platform, again, many cloud, and specifically in the kingdom, you need to ensure that your data is hosted, there is sovereignty within the kingdom, you have the right accesses in place, and trust is predominantly, again, I keep repeating that, that security and governance is the key, without which you will not be able to scale your AI initiatives. Yes? So a rule of thumb, like I've written over here, is if you can point anything in your missing layer. So I believe most of us are already in our AI journey, and at some point, if you feel that, okay, something is not going right, all you need to do is just refer to either of these 5 points, and you will find the problem in either one of them. And if you are able to do that, you can definitely, put your project back on track. Okay, now basically, here is the next step where we are saying we've identified something and we've started. Now, when we say that the run is what will pay for your grow, and the grow will actually ensure that you will be able to transform, and transform requires guardrails. Again, I'm again repeating that you can only scale your tools if you have the right governance in place, all right? There are few points which I've already listed. These are all quick wins from a run perspective, a grow perspective. I'll not, go through each one of them right now. But if you guys at any point want to discuss on any of these points, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to discuss in detail with you, all right? And now one final point I would like to highlight on this specific slide here is that the funding rule. So 60% of the funding rule is dependent on the value delivery, 30% is on the platform and data, and 10% is from the experimental this. So what I mean by this is when we are talking about what outcomes are going to come in, some business cases which are already there, where I know in an organization I have a specific problem and I need to address them. Then I have to make sure that my funding is according to that. 30% is more from the actual technology stack, which is there, where we feel that, okay, these are well-established solutions, all right? where we don't have to do a trial and error basis. So allocate 30% of your funds over there. And 10% you do the experimentation bit, where you are talking about something which no one has done before. However, if you are going to put your money, it's a hit and a miss kind of scenario, you don't know it. So you need to make sure your funding is cut across these kind of scenarios, and that will basically actually average out and ensure a good successful return. All right, and again, these are, like I said, you need to have the right stack chosen for you. From an AI perspective, there are multiple things. You have your LLMs, you have your data products, you have integration, you have cloud compute. There are multiple layers which are there, and you need to ensure that which is the right fit for you, all right, how you can stack it, which combinations will work for you. And this is something where your tech team comes into the picture. This is where you involve them, understand the impact. These things are not related to any business, but this is more from a technical perspective, where you have multiple vendors coming in and trying to give you different solutions. And this is where your expertise comes into the picture as a technical leaders, to ensure that the relevant solutions are selected, or the stack is selected, stacks which you can basically monitor and ensure that they can, are governed and scalable. All right, and basically, I'm sure you guys are very much familiar with this now, but again, I keep repeating that data governance is equivalent to a trust layer, all right? And when we're talking about data governance, there are three major points that we look at. What is the policy that is defined, all right? What are the controls that we have based on the policy? And finally, the evidence. So what is the logs that are getting generated via these controls? Are we able to monitor them on a regular basis? And there has to be, a flexibility in terms of the first two, where we may not get the policy right the first time round. You might have your controls in place, which will there, but the logs are the ones which will actually give you an idea on where we are going wrong and how the controls and policies can be updated. So this is a very important aspect from a governance perspective. This is predominantly your CISO and the governance team's stack, where their capability and their ownership comes into the picture. All right. Again, from an technology perspective, from an AI portfolio perspective, we need to have clear defined roles within the C-suite of the technology stack. So you need to have your ownership with your CIO, your CTO, and your CSO. So from a CIO's perspective, he will be owning the value delivery. He will be owning the enterprise change. So all the change management, the values that is being driven, that is his ownership. And when it comes to the CTO, he will own the platform. He will be basically ensuring that the relevant technical stack is in place, the relevant infrastructure is in place. And finally, the CISO owns the trust and the risk part. So he will ensure that you have your, the governance in place, your cybersecurity rules, the NCA requirements, the SADAIA requirements are in place. They are enforced, the controls are in place. And for any initiative or any AI portfolio to become a successful stack, it needs to be in sync with this clear defined ownerships within the ranks and a proper coordination. So that's why I called it a handshake model, because unless and until there is a handshake between these three stakeholders, your initiatives are going to have some or the other challenges. All right. Now, again, this is going a step down. And then we have the teams within the CIO, CTO, and the CISO. And you can define your squads. This is just an example which I put in. Depending on, basically, I'm saying right now that we are taking 3 initiatives as a lighthouse from an organization perspective, and then taking it forward. So you will have your squad A, squad B, and squad C, where you will define the squad A will own a specific outcome related to services and ops. Then the squad B will be from your customer or citizen services, and your squad C is from the risk and compliance. So this is basically a step down from the C level, where you have the team members involved working in tandem with each other to ensure that your tools, your outcomes, and your risk are in sync. Okay, so this is basically a 90-day playbook which I have defined. All right, it's pretty much something where I'm saying that the AI delivery lane that security and audit can approve without any heroics. All right, and I believe 90 days are more than enough if we have the right processes in place. All right, your first 30 days basically are required for your stabilizing. Then the 31 to 60 days is more from a build rail or the governance perspective. And the last 61 to 90 days are where you will going to go and make sure that this platform is scalable. So you can start a small project, you make sure you have your governance in place, and only if the governance test pass, then you can put it into a scalable aspect. All right, so you are ensuring in these 90 days that your AI portfolio, your AI initiatives or the projects have the right approval parts in place. They have the LLM gateway logging in place. You have your cloud first initiatives considered. And most importantly, you make sure you pick which are the 2 or the 3 key projects within your organizations which will basically needs to be concentrated and taken up. All right, so that's it from my side. I'll just quickly summarize what we've gone through earlier today. All right, like I said, AI transformations, if treated like procurement, yeah, more from, we need to do AI and it needs to be procured, and then we just follow it because we invested, let's put some people around it, then it is bound to fail. However, if you follow the instructions or the discussions that we've had earlier today, where you have your measurable outcomes in place, you have the guardrails in place, there is a clear defined outcome which is there, then in those cases, your success of your AI initiatives and your portfolio is guaranteed, provided you have a clear vision about it. All right. Now, and what I would suggest is, from a personal experience, you pick one mission critical initiative within your organization. Try to put it across as a lighthouse solution, something which you are going to invest very well, something which you are going to manage very well, something which has all the governance in place and can be scaled. All right. And once you have that in place, that solution can actually become a lighthouse solution for the others within the industry, and it will actually help with the Vision 2030 vision which is there and enable the digital technology. Thanks very much, everyone. This is my QR code for my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect with me and discuss any further, I'd be happy to take any questions now if there are any. Thank you.